I'm going to do a little video here. This is not actually a worm video, but I'm going to be showcasing several different MMOs when I do this here. Worm is just for a base. Since 1999, I've played EverQuest. I played it for so many years. As soon as EverQuest 2 came out, I started playing EverQuest 2. During this time, um, I left EverQuest 2 to seek better um, than EverQuest 2, because ever since the beginning, after my first year of playing EverQuest, I started wanting something. And even though we talked in the forums, and us people would post about things that we would like to see in our MMO, some things have always been ignored. But one thing I have realized is over the years, the sandbox, uh, the indie developers, independent developers, they have been coming across some very good ideas. And these ideas, for example, would be Worm Online, Greedmonger, uh, among some others that are going back old school, doing some things that we gamers were wanting for years to be able to do. And plus, we want what actually is the core of, like, EverQuest, for example. We want the friendship. We want the mass community. We want to work together. We always did in EverQuest. We conquered raid mobs and we went on adventures together, and you know, it was great. But the more you keep the game the same and don't try to change the mechanics to add more mechanics to it. EverQuest 2, I really didn't see no new mechanics. I saw more cartoonish graphics. I thought by the time EverQuest 2 come out, we would have had more realistic uh, graphics. To me, maybe it's just the color scheme. Maybe the color scheme makes EverQuest 2 characters look cartoonish to me. But to me, it looks like a cartoon. Um, to me, looking at EverQuest 2 is no different than looking at World of Warcraft. I tried World of Warcraft. I blew through the content way too quickly. Within a month, I had two characters level 60. Was bored. It was nothing but a wash repeat of a quick grind. Uh, but the thing about an MMO is it needs to last forever. And that's the main goal, is to make an MMO last forever. How do you make an MMO last forever? Well, it's not by adding 50 billion quests over the years. Adding mobs and zones, that's good. But the quest, whenever Quest 2 come out, it was just horrendously quest oriented. And it's either you follow the storyline or you just go out and kill mobs. You didn't make no storyline. I know I've been watching a lot of the EQ Next feed and all through YouTube and everything. I sort of washed my hands from Sony for a while there. I recently went back and did a All Access Pass, try it out. And when I tried EverQuest 2 with a friend of mine, I remembered how much and what I hated about it. And that was everything was quest related. I had to do quest, and within a week, I was sick of doing quest. And nothing had really changed. I mean, you got new mounts, a lot of different things. You know, the gear started looking better. That's an A plus. But the quest, no. What the game industry really needs to do, and I'm hoping you all have not finished your MMOs or whatnot and really take this video to heart. Here in Worm, and I'm going to use a core mechanic in Worm for an example, and then I'll show other videos that show their mechanics and what needs to come together, is this is a world. Now this world ain't perfect. For example, we can mine through these tunnels, we can terraform the dirt, we can bring it up, throw it down scoop by scoop, we can mine the rock down, but when we go inside the tunnel, we technically can't mine above something because it's two-dimensional. It's not 3D, so we can't mine over another mine shaft. It'll actually create a drop shaft instead. The water level is completely straight across, one level. So you can't dig in stone and go below water level without having it, water being there. So that's another bad feature because it's not three-dimensional. But one of the things about Worm is the terraforming. People, you make an MMO and you bring the sandbox in, where the players. And just to go into a little depth about Worm and its mechanic, when Worm first was created, I wasn't here. I just showed up 2 years ago from this date and started playing Worm, but Worm has been around for almost 8 years now. And when it first started, the developer, Rolf Jensen, he created a world and told players, I'm putting one NPC in the center here. This is a world trader. You can buy parchments, you can buy land. From there, you can you buy the land, you can do what you want on it, and buying a deed marker and buying land gives you benefits in the game for being a landowner. But the main thing is he put one NPC, not a couple 100,000, just one, and he put the players in there and he said, here's a world, create what you want. That was the perfect thing to ever do. I don't understand why EverQuest was never like this, or why it didn't come up in EverQuest 2, why it didn't come and evolve to that prospect of proportion. But basically, what an MMO needs to do is it needs to create. I mean, you can't go without having NPCs in a castle or something, depending on the theme, without some quests there. But don't make the game oriented on quest. And the best thing is, it's like everything we do in here, we create. I create the bricks to make this walkway. I create the bricks and the iron fence bars to create each fence section. So it takes me time to build all this stuff, and I love that because it's not something I can do in a couple. Well, I can do it in a couple of weeks, but you need the skill. So you got to, first of all, you got to grind your skills until you get the skills to be able to create big structures and stuff. And eventually you can start building multi-story housing and all, which just recently came into this. And you can plant grass, you can plant flowers, you can plant trees. Any tree we can plant in this game. We can harvest sprouts off of these trees, and we can replant them. We can plant a forest. We can terraform. If I had enough dirt, I could fill this whole entire ocean out here in, and I could actually build an island out there. This is how much the terraforming is in Worm, and it is one of the best features I've ever seen in any MMO. And what needs to happen is, and I'll go up here and show some other things. I mean, everything is player created. There's no kill a mob, get an item. That is so old school, it ain't funny. Killing mobs and getting items. Killing mobs and getting items. Everything that you see in this room here, I have personally crafted, made the materials to create it. I made the nails, the planks, the ribbons, you name it, I made it to put this together. Shafts, there's a ton of items for construction and all. These carts I created, the barrels, everything. This floor, this ceiling, these walls, these candelabras, I created all this. And we can breed animals. So, you can breed animals and stuff in a game like this. And this is what players actually want. They want to be able to create their own world. So basically what you need to do, and this goes for PvP too, I mean, players being able to create their own castles and all, and from there they're able to basically they would be able to create their own wars and stuff. But there's enough technology out here to give the players actually what they want. I've seen it, and I don't see why it's not being utilized. Either the gaming industry is too scared to take a leap and bring the gaming to the next level of realism. I mean, I heard about it watching Sony's thing about the PlayStation wanting to bring realism to their game and all, but you can't bring realism just by slapping a coat of paint with Ira and all. I mean, that's nice features and all. Trust me, we all want that. But there are core mechanics that the gamer wants first. They want to be immersed by the world that they live in. And what better way than to immerse them into the world is to let them create the world. You know, put them in a world, let them build everything. Have some castles, for example, I'm going to use the EverQuest theme here. Say we have a new EverQuest, and you put an entire world where you can build anywhere in the entire world except for these small little spaces around these castles that will be built and spread out far and wide. And each of these castles would contain non-player characters that would have quests and all to send people on. Most MMOs, you have newbie yards. A lot of people will understand what I'm saying about this, and for those that don't, a newbie yard is basically a bunch of low-level mobs that you start out fighting in, and you work to the zone. You go to each new zone for the next level or tier of mobs that you want to be killing to gain any experience to level. Well, in Worm Online, there is no newbie zone. You know, when you start out, they give you a sword and a shield, and a lot of people start trying to tank right off because they're so used to the old MMO style, and a lot of people don't like Worm Online just for that reason alone, because they die. They see a spider, they see a cow, they start trying to kill it, and a cow kills them. A pig kills them because they don't have the skill to fight yet. They have to earn these skills over time. Killing these, they do have more harder mobs, and they have weak mobs. And for example, weak mobs would be like a cave bug or something, you know, something small, something very squishy. And when you see giant spiders, you know, you just ain't gonna be able to jump in there and start trying to whack a giant spider just because you have a sword and a shield. The sword and a shield was a starter tool for you to practice with smaller things, but you know, the mobs are mixed in level, and that gives a great survival rating and a great ordeal in immersion, because you know, I know in the area I'm in, I could die or I can live. I don't have to, you know, it's not, I have to run 50 miles to get anything tough. And an MMO can make a world like this actually, and create, like I said, create castles with themes in them throughout the big land masses in a seamless world, and allow the players to just terraform and create their own housing and all. You could set up an MMO for years doing a process like this, and adding where the players can put trophies and stuff in the house that they build. They can build tall houses, small houses, different yard works, hundreds of trees, you know, plant life, everything, seaweed. You can make underwater castle areas where players could swim underwater and grab quests from the Lost City of Atlantis or something, you know, just throwing that out there. But this is basically where the core of any MMO needs to go. It needs to give the players the ability to create what they want and develop the world. So no server would, no area would be alike. And as time changes, that area would change, because as people quit, new people come in. They buy the land that was once owned and used, and they turn around and they reshape the whole place. So the place changes like the real world. It's never the same. But this is a core mechanic that needs to actually go in an MMO, every MMO, especially in today's world, because there's too many MMOs. People are trying to come up with the best MMO, but the best MMO is actually immersion. That's giving the player the ability to do what they want. And this is one part that they're not been given, except for in like Worm Online. Greedmonger, you can build houses, but you cannot terraform, and terraform is key. Giving them, you know, throwing them out there, letting them go. And Greedmonger, I can't remember the guy's name offhand. Jensen something. Something Appleton. Jensen Appleton, I think. I can't remember offhand. I'm sorry, but he's got a new game that he is working on where you can't terraform, but you can build anywhere. And his plans are is when he launches, that everybody's just going to be dropped off, and they'll create the world. They'll build their houses. They'll spread out. They'll build communities, and stuff. Now he's a guy that's taken to the point where I'm talking about. He's going to make it where the land will evolve over time, where um, NPCs will just show up at certain castles and stuff, and they'll have quests and all, but not at the beginning. But later on, there'll be quests and all. The main first part of the area will be about um, creating a world and the players surviving for the first half, and that's a good thing. But he's missing the terraforming, and like Rolf Jensen, yeah, Rolf Jensen. Okay, I'm getting Appleton and Jensen's last name mixed up. And Rolf, he basically he gave us full control. Now the only problem is a small developer like Rolf, he don't have the resources or the power, the material to keep a game pushed and going at a very fast rate. And normally it's due to where he's from, the lack of programmers, the lack of funds in a game. Um, of course, big business understands this, and that's why it's so small. But this is where the gaming industry needs to start from the shell, from the core. I mean, you look at you look at Worm Online, you say, man, them are some not so looking graphics. Um, how could you stand to play it? It's the core mechanics. I really don't care about graphics. I love graphics, trust me. I would love no more than to see my character doing face impressions and stuff just like the Ira, if any of y'all pay attention to what's being done at NVIDIA. And for some reason, I have the hunch that EverQuest Next is trying this too after, in 2010, what John Smedley said, and seeing the one picture of the bald guy that they showed, it just, when I first saw the Ira video, I was like, wait a minute, is that Ira? So I don't know, maybe Sony's, they're working with NVIDIA. They're partnered up. Maybe Sony's got some of this Kepler technology and all that they're working in with the Forge Light engine. I don't know. But the thing of it is, EverQuest Next is going to have to go backwards and bring some of this core of gameplay in it. Pretty much all of it. Because we are so widespread, and I've said for many times in forums and all, that the game industry, there's too many MMOs, and there's bits and pieces out of every MMO out there that people like. But if you take the core mechanics from the ones that have the attraction, there are certain core elements in every MMO that gives people an attraction. And a lot of them are almost identical. You game designers should understand this and be able to recognize everything that's similar, and understand and recognize what is not similar, the core mechanics of the game. For example, I was reading some EverQuest Next about people were asking what they would like to see in EverQuest Next, and some guy was talking about shield bashing and stuff like that. The warrior really being able to use the shield as a weapon instead of his sword being an epic and stuff like that. Well, that's one of the mechanics I'm talking about. Throughout games, World of Warcraft had a good mechanic from the way they explained. I didn't play a warrior, so I don't know, but I'm taking these gamers to their word on their posting that they talked about how World of Warcraft had a good shield system for the warrior type. And, you bring that into a game. You bring this terraforming the world into a game. You bring the players creating the entire world themselves. You just pick key little land spots and put a building, put NPCs in, put quests. So if the player wants to go do that, they can. If they want to sit all day and do this and farm on their land, farming crops and growing trees and stuff, then they can do this. Give the player full freedom to do what they want in an MMO. I'm just a player, I grew up in 1999 when EverQuest first started, and I was on the bandwagon. I was hooked. I had just met my wife, and started playing EverQuest. she's not a gamer, and surprisingly, 14 years later, we're still here together, and I'm still gaming. And when I went to MMOs with EverQuest, I stopped playing consoles. And before I could play a console, leave it alone. But when it came to EverQuest, I put hours in EverQuest. Sony could check their logs for all my accounts in the past, and they will notice I put in. There was times that I would wake up and stay 24 hours onto EverQuest, and I wouldn't get off. And that was a real hard thing for my wife to get used to. But I was a true MMO gamer, and I still am, and that's why I'm passionate. I'm making this video to explain. These are things that you all need to be looking into. I don't know where you all are looking, but you need to look at other games. All you game makers out here need to look at the next game that was created. Arch Age is coming out. I even posted stuff on EverQuest forums about Worm Online and Arch Age, what was coming, and warned them, look here. This is what I want to see. Why can't we have anything like this? And basically, Arch Age has got a nice thing, except for they're doing the worst thing ever. They're mixing their PvP and their PvE. The main focus in the end content is PvP. Well, I'm not a PvP player. I've played PvP in MMOs, and I don't like it. I never have, never will. I prefer the PvE. I think I get more of a challenge out of a raid boss than I do out of a few players trying to tackle a few players that I know I'm not going to be able to kill. I'm one guy, 5 guys jump me. I know I'm not going to be able to kill those 5 guys. But in a raid, it's me, a team, it's a family, a team, a guild. We take on the odds. That is the type of immersion in games that I like. Some people are the other way, but that type of stuff needs to be separate servers. They cannot be mixed. There's an argument all the time, and I'm one of the people that'll argue with it. But this is what we need. We need to build our own world. This is where you need to go with MMOs. I know I'm eager for EverQuest this Friday, EverQuest Next. I'm so eager to see what they've got. I know they talk about seamless worlds, all this atmosphere scattering and stuff, and that's nice and all. But if I don't have this concept, I won't go play it. If I'm still sitting there doing the same old crap that I've done in most MMOs I've hated, I won't play it. I'll start out playing it. I'll take a look at it. I'll come back here when I'm done. I'll come back here to my boring graphics. Okay? I'll come back here. I mean, the graphics are decent. Not as high end as I would want them. But I'll come back here to my boring graphics, my slow development MMO that I have fallen in love with all the construction and stuff, because I can terraform. I can do what I want with this land. I bought it. It's mine. No one can tell me what I can't do with it except for the creator himself. And, I can do whatever I want with this land. I can terraform it. I can raise it. I can sink it. I could tear this mountain down to the ground if I wanted to. It'd take me a couple of years, but I could tear this thing down to the ground. I have full control of my land. I can build whatever they give, any construction thing in the game. If I got the skill to build it, I can build it. I don't need nobody's permission. I don't need to go buy it. I can build it. I'm a type of player class that's a jack of all trades, so I can do regular fighting. I can do every one of these different skills that you see here: alchemy, toys, fighting, healing, and each one has subclasses like first aid, fighting, weaponless fighting, aggressive fighting, defensive, normal, taunting, shield bashing, masonry, stone cutting, rope making, tailoring, cloth tailoring, leather tailoring, pottery, fire making, carpentry, bowery, fletching, fine carpentry, toy making, shipbuilding, wood cutting, and we can build ships and sail ships around in the water. This is another thing. It lacks a lot of finesse to the shipbuilding, but nevertheless, if I want to take a boat ride, I can. But like I said, the graphics ain't all that. But the core mechanics is something I've loved and wanted in EverQuest since the first year I played. If I can think back far enough, I I'm pretty sure I mentioned about allowing us to build on the land at some point in a forum somewhere in EverQuest 1 many years ago. Back in 2000, maybe 2000, somewhere in 2000, I had asked in a forum. It might have been 2001. Might have been just a little slight over a year. Um, 2000, 2001. I know I asked for terraforming and building on the land. Lo and behold, 13 years later, nothing. But this is what we like, and this is what a lot of players won't come and play a game like this because there's no graphics, there's no quest, there's no graphics, there's no real huge fighting mechanic system in it like there are in other MMOs, and it lacks so much polish, but the polish it has is astronomical where its base is. I mean, its base core mechanic is everything is skill based. Perfect mechanic. Um, Inventory. You know, I don't like the inventory and the way it's set up and everything, but you have weight limits, strength limits to your weight and all. Same as other MMOs have had in the past. Um, I remember in EverQuest having to dump tons and tons and tons and tons of my gear just so loot that I've looted just so I can be able to walk without, being froze solid or barely being able to escape if I got in trouble. But this is what the gamers really want. They want to create their own world. We need to be able to terraform our land, change the scenery and everything, take a mountain down, pull a mountain up, plant any grass we want, any tree, build any type of road, any type of fence, housing, multi-story housing on top of it, high skyscrapers, castle-like construction, breeding animals, bring the game to life. This is what we like. Now, you can do this in many different ways. As you can see, we got some animation. It's not the best. Maybe we could have better if we had a better engine. But we're running on Java and all. These are our graphics. But I will stick with this over EverQuest 2, over EverQuest. I would have played EverQuest if EverQuest would have got mechanics like this in it, and I would have never left it. But over time, it got stale. Every new expansion to every MMO I've ever played is always a repeat. It's a new boss, a little bit harder. All they do is they make a boss the same as the last raid boss, except for they tune him up a little bit stronger, and give him some different spells and moves. And all they do to you is give you extra stats to be able to be earned, and some new spells. And you go in there and you wash and repeat the same thing you've done for years and years and years. And after so many years, it just really gets old. I mean, it's sickening to me to play most MMOs. I mean, I went back and tried to play Dragon's Prophet. I hated it. Why? Well, for one, there was quest the minute I started. I don't want a quest. I don't want a quest unless I'm looking for a quest. I'd like to see an MMO where, let's just say this is some area, and I'm out here running, and there's a little boy here crying on the side, and I stop. And he don't have no question mark or no quest arrows pointing at him saying, "Hey, talk to me, I got a quest." He's just a little kid standing here. And it's up to me to talk to every NPC to see if I want to find, if they got anything for me to do or anything. Maybe the little kid's lost, and I click on him, and he starts talking to me, and I talk to him back, and a dialogue pops up giving me options to talk to him, and he says he's lost, he can't find his family. He's been wandering for days, and maybe my quest is to journey through the land and try to find his parents, and I can ask him, "Where was you last at?" And he says, "I was at a tavern named something something So I go find that tavern, and I go in the tavern. Maybe they're not there anymore. Maybe they've roamed off. So I talk to the people in the tavern and start finding until I find someone who's seen them people. And then, that's a quest. That's a journey. Go outside the city walls and kill 5 rats and bring me 5 rat pelts. That's not a quest. That is pain. Utter pain. When I play a game, I want to be immersed with the game storyline, with the character. I want to walk into a world where, when I walk into a big, like my idea here, and say this is the castle area, and here I'm walking up in here, and I go up here, and I see all these NPCs roaming through the area, in the shop area, the downtown shop area inside the castle, and at certain times these NPCs will disappear because why? They're gonna go home. They ain't gonna sit there for 24 hours. I want realism. I want the character to be at the shop at such and such time at daylight time. Nighttime, in the afternoon, he's going home to his family. So he goes home. He has a home in the city, and he goes home. And so I either have to come back to the next day or hunt him down and find him at his house and talk to him. That is immersion. That is taking a game to a level that needs to be in an MMO. There's many ways of bringing immersion, but I know game makers are like, no, that's too risky, this is too risky, that's too risky, this here works. It works now, but as you can see over the years, your games are dying. Your fan bases are getting small. They're getting scattered by all these MMOs. I'm scattered to Worm Online because you all can't give me what I want anymore. And this is a mechanic I haven't got to enjoy for over the last 13, 14 years. So I'm here enjoying this mechanic, the mechanic that I wanted in the beginning. I might not have all the other, fast-paced mobs. I mean, our mobs' animation ain't all that hot, and they don't move all that, and there ain't a lot of animation to the fighting scenes. But when it comes down to it, I'm going to pick my core mechanics before I do a bunch of other things. I mean, I want it. People in the forums on this game here, they holler for it. But, small development team. You can't squeeze juice out of you can't squeeze water or whatever out of a turnip or whatever that saying is. You can't squeeze it. So this is, I hope, gets to MMO makers. You got an MMO coming out. You just started it. You're 2 or 3 years in the making. You might want to think about it a little bit before you launch it. Sony Online, EverQuest Next, what was it, a year and some you all threw in the trash, threw out the door from what I've heard. Hey, my hat's off to you, try to give the players what they want. But if you're going to try and throw that much time away, make sure you definitely got what they want when you bring it to that table. Otherwise, you're just going to get another ill, pissed off person like me. This is what you get when we ask for things and you don't see the light. I know you want us to sit down and type what we want on these forums and stuff, and y'all ask these stupid questionnaires and stuff that y'all do. But the thing of it is, without us players being able to come into our MMOs and say, you see this here, this is what I like. You see this here, this is what I like. You need to, with as much YouTube as we have and as much Twitch TV and everything that we have today, you think you game makers could have came up with an idea of asking the gamers to put together go through all your games and show me the mechanics that you love the most about the games that you play. Put me a YouTube video together for all the games that you love and show me the mechanics. What is the specifics? Show me specifically in the game what mechanic, and we will watch your videos. And that's what you need to do. You need to sit down for months on end watching people's videos, because you will learn a lot that you didn't learn or that you didn't know. And that's what we gamers truly want. I mean, you can make, I know you all are trying to make the perfect MMO that everybody's going to want, but There again, you're not going to be able to do it. It's impossible. There's simple rules why that's impossible. There's just I can count out different things and reasons why. One, you have the easy go player who wants it all handed to them on a plate. They want to get through the content from A to B as fast as they can. You got the grinder. He don't want to go from A to B and then next week be wondering what he's going to do or waiting for the next raid. He wants it to take him time to get to the end content, even if it takes him a year or two. He's not the guy that wants to be there within a week or a month or 2 months. He wants it to take him a year or two. So you got two different player styles right there that you cannot satisfy with one game. You just can't. Then you have PvP and PvE. They have to be separated. You can't put them together because you can't satisfy both. PvP wants to kill anybody. PvE only wants to fight NPCs. They don't like going against other players. And there's many reasons behind that. I mean, people don't want... PvP creates violence. It really does. It creates violence and chaos. When players fight a non-player character, a raid boss, NPC, they fight it. They're all gang together. They help each other kill it. It's a group thing. It's family. Everybody's having a good time. When it's PvP, people get angry. People get ill. 10 out of 10 PvP fight, somebody's walking away mad. PvE, the only way people are walking away mad is if they didn't get their drop from a mob. And that's another thing. Games shouldn't have drops. I mean, why? What would a dragon? You answer me this. What is a dragon or a horse or something have a sword for? What the hell do they have a sword for? Why would they drop a sword? Mobs need to drop what would be naturally to them. Horse hide. Horse hair. Meat. Hooves. He sure ain't dropping silver, and he sure ain't dropping a sword. A troll might have money. I buy that. I can buy that. A troll, a goblin, something like that. They can have money, and it can drop off of them. You know, a social type talkative creature, I can understand them dropping money when you kill them. But there are mobs out there that drop stuff that should never drop it. Never. And I mean, everything should be player made. If you go kill a raid boss, it should be to get special drops for crafters to create special items. And that's it. And Greedmonger, Jason Appleton, that's his name, the creator of Greedmonger, that's exactly what he's doing. He's got one core mechanic that he's got perfect already. Sad part is, there's other mechanics he's missing. Will I play Greedmonger? No. Why? He don't have terraforming. Simple as that. Will I go play EverQuest again? No. Will I play EverQuest 2? No. Will I play WoW? No. Will I go play Ion again? No. Will I go play Rift? No. Will I go play any of the MMOs I have played? No. I've tried DC Universe Online. Yeah. It was fun for a week or two. I played it for a little bit of time. Probably no more than 2 weeks. And I was done with it. That's how boring and how quick it got to me. Because it was a wash and repeat of running after quests like every other game. Storyline don't mean nothing when you wash and repeat your quest. In Worm, I don't have a quest. I love it. I would love to get a quest when I feel like it, when I'm bored of doing everything else. When I'm bored and I want to take a break from terraforming, I can't go do a quest. There's no quest NPC. I would love to see it, but there is not. But I don't want it shoved down my neck, so every time I turn around, I got a quest. I got a quest. I got a quest. I feel like I'm in one of them AOL email things. You got mail, you got mail, you got mail. That's what I feel like I'm hearing. That's my example for it. But, I mean, Sony, I hope you all really do a good job with EverQuest Next. I wish you well with it. If you don't have any of these core mechanics, you'll never get me back. I will stick with an old, slow developing game before I will spend my money and my time anymore on a tell me what I got to do, where I got to go, when I got to do it thing. I'm not a control freak, and I don't like control freaks, and your game is a control freak. When I have to go to an NPC to level and it tells me I got to go kill this, come back to him, he's got another quest for me. When he's got 10 chain lines of quests going for me and I got 50 NPCs in the area that I got to do quests for, and after a while it just gets boring. I don't get it. Randomly choosing to talk to people in a world, NPCs, and they send me on a quest and I could choose to either ignore them or go on. I like that better. I don't like having tags over their head. I want to find them. That's my adventure. I want to find those people. Now, some people, you just talk to everybody. If you like the quest in a game like that, you just talk to everybody. Grab all the quests up. But I don't want to have to see a quest over their head. I mean, I know it sounds like a rant, but in a way it is a rant. It's a rant of all the stupidity over the game industry all these years. It just gets old after a while. Always the same crap. I mean, I was going to log into other games, but I'm not. I enjoy myself too much in Worm. In my low polygon graphic world. I enjoy myself a lot more. It's peaceful. My land, I own it. I created all this. I wish I could create better stuff, but I'm limited. I'm limited to the type of walls. I have 5 stone wall types. I have 5 wooden wall types, and there's only so much you can do with a building when you're limited to, your wall types. I got a solid wall. I got a wall with a window. I got an archway. I got a door and a double door. There's only so much I can build. But I'll stay here with my low, create what I want with it. But yeah, it's I just hope you game developers out there really take a look at this. If you got a game you're getting ready to publish, you might want to throw it on hold because you're just going to fail. You'll get a small little subscription base, but if you want to compete in the gaming world and don't want to die out within a year and have another flop like everybody else, like the major MMO companies, I mean, Sony, you're flopping like crazy. You say you learn, but you ain't learned anything from where I'm standing. I mean, sometimes you got to go back to the beginning. You can't just keep going forward. Sometimes you got to go back to go forward. Sometimes you got to go back to the beginning to go forward. Because once you hit that brick wall, and you all hit that brick wall for quite a few years now, that's where you'll stay. I mean, World of Warcraft, they made their one great game. After that, it was boom. And the only reason it was great and made so many people, I'm not going to lie and sugarcoat anything. I liked World of Warcraft for what it was. Yeah, I'm a big EQ fan. People can call me a fanboy. But the point is, EverQuest was where I could make myself known. And I'll tell a story about EverQuest. And I don't know if anybody remembers Calamore. Back in 1999, the Great Calamore. Or Shalamore, however people used to say my character's name. I was an enchanter. And I was at Cardnor's Castle. And I remember walking in there, and if I remember correctly, I was like level 42. And, I'm sitting at the zone line, and when I walk in, there's 2 other enchanters already sitting there shouting for a group, shouting for a group, shouting for a group. One of them's 48 or 49. One of them was max level 50 already, shouting for a group. Here I come in there. I'm level 42. I come in there, I shout, 42 enchanter looking for a group. And first thing I knew is these 2 guys are like, and I thought the same thing, I didn't know I was that good at playing my class, but other players seemed to think I was. And when I walked in there, you're like, gosh, man, I got to go against a 48 and 50. Now I'm going to be sitting here for hours waiting on a group. And as soon as I shouted, some guys I've been grouping with in there said, "Hey, Cal, come up here. Come up to I forget where it was at now in the castle, top right somewhere." And sure enough, I go up there, and I know them two guys who were a higher level enchanters are like, "What? I got better spells than he has. He's only got clarity. I have KEI and all this stuff, you know." I don't think we had KEI at the time. I think we had clarity too. You know, they had the better mana regen spells, you know. They had better mez spells. But I was picked over them because of my skills. And in EverQuest, you were picked by your skills. But as EverQuest developed over the years, it got more gear dependent on, you weren't picked by skills anymore. You were picked by what gear you were equipped with to how high level your spell was. You know, it was no more dependent on how well you handled your mana bar, you know, how well you handled the mobs around you and stuff. It's all about gear and level of spells. So, you know, that's what the gaming industries went to. That's what I hate. It's no longer about how good you are. There's no name to make. You want to make a name for yourself? Go buy an account. I hate that. Too many people buy accounts. They buy pre-made accounts. People get tired of the game. They quit. People go and buy them. They come in. Yeah, I know. It's not bad for a console game, but for an MMO, it just, you know, you get some people that don't know how to play their class. But because they have all this major gear on and stuff, people think they're good. I've run into a lot of people that had higher gear than me all the time, and, well, quite frankly, they sucked at their class. So games have come to the point where you can be good now with crap gear. And I mean, well, no, games have become where you can be the greatest player in the game as long as you had the gear and the spells, but your skills sucked. You could still come out smelling like a rose. And for the guy who tries to earn his way, he's just, you know, thrown in the trash. You know, I don't know how much more to say, you know, how the game industry changed over the years. You know, I guess I like the free-to-play thing. You know, I was against it at first. I guess I could jump on the bandwagon. But I'm the type of player, you know, if you charge me $25 a month, $30 a month for my MMO, as long as it's what I want to play, I'm going to pay you. I know a lot of people say they won't, but Sony should know this better than anything. When Sony first went to DirectX 9.0, if I remember correctly, I think it was 9 from 7 or 8 to 9. Everybody had to upgrade their video cards, and a lot of people, they raved about how they was going to quit, and they wasn't buying a video card. But what did everybody do? Everybody went out and bought a video card. They hated having to do it, but they wasn't about to give up their addiction. I mean, you know, if you see a game that you like and it is out of this world, you're going to pay for it. You can make an MMO look like real people. I mean, real digital people. No more cartoon characters and all this medley was saying. No more of this, no more of that. Real looking characters, real looking trees, real looking dirt and grass. But if you're missing my mechanics, I'm going to come in, I'm going to say, ooh, wow. And a month later, I'm gone. And you just spent how many years building that game? How much money you got invested into it? You've wasted your time. And you've wasted my time. And a lot of this is pointed out at Sony because they're hyping up EverQuest Next. And, I mean, I'm hyped about it. But, you know, I have this big feeling I'm going to be let down. You know, I said, this video is basically for all developers. It's not just for Sony, but Sony brought me into this industry, and they're going to catch the biggest hit from me because they let me down years ago when they changed the game that I Loved at that time, made it more simplified, easier, got crazy with that crap, and didn't go to any more real mechanics to the game. They could have did a lot with EverQuest, but they didn't. They say they can't. I know John Smithy sit down and wanted to say, we still want to make EverQuest seamless. We still do. Why haven't you? It's not as hard as you think it is. You just don't want to put the developers and the money to do it. Because in the end, that's what it is. It's money and developers. You don't want to put more money into a game that you know is dying out. That you're hoping your next game is going to draw most of the crowd so eventually you can close it down. Just like LucasArts had you close down Star Wars Galaxy. Yeah. But I'm going to end this here with this note, Good luck, Sony. Good luck, independent developers. Good luck, Blizzard. Good luck, everybody. Uh, I'll be playing Worm Online until somebody can create the world that I want. And that's all I got to say about that as Forrest Gump would say. Night.